This for Brody.
We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
Just over Paul.
We're live.
We're live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I am the other host, Paul. And we thought we had enough of them, but no, they had to stick around after last week's episode just to cause more mayhem and chaos than ever before. And as you've just seen, Chris is drinking a full pint of Baileys.
I'll have a pint.
It's a nice little fancy glass.
To be fair, though, that's probably just a shot glass just in Chris's hand. It looks like a pint glass. So yes, we are joined by the top grumps themselves, Lee and Chris. They've come back because this is the episode that was meant to happen many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I thought we were going to get individual introductions there. I was probably ready to be like, they call me Lee, because that's my name. Shabuya, yeah.
Shabuya, roll call.
No, you had enough credit over the last 2 weeks, I think.
Bad boys have known.
Oh, God, fuck off with that. You couldn't even be the bad boys in a wet paper blanket. But yes.
Ugh, yeah.
So yes,
But
hey, Sammy's finally got her wish. She's got a dream episode that she's pined for 3 years. The episode that was meant to come out in September, but Lee got too excited. Lee couldn't wait and started up Top Grumps earlier than was expected. Do you have a problem coming early there, Chris? I mean, Lee?
I don't know what to say to that. I was about to throw his
Well, that's how we go. So get the disclaimer out the way, lovely lady.
Yeah, let's do this. So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on the Facebook group. You can join us on the Discord or the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
Yes. And just to say thank you to the people of Udi for giving us our white, nice warm Udis that me and Lee are sporting now. It's very comfy and very keeps us warm on these winter nights. Sammy and Chris didn't get the memo or weren't good enough to get the sponsorship.
I did have mine first, which I think makes me the leader of this Udi clan. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Paul, my subordinate.
But if you do want to have 15% off an Udi, go to the website and use code Paul57676 and get 15% off your Udi.
That's Paul 57676.
Yes.
I think,
What have we become?
I think you've got
What
Top
have you
Grumps to thank
done?
for this, mind.
What?
Obviously, they've seen that Top Grumps have all of these like amazing sponsors on every week, and some big companies took note of that. And
Right. And so,
You're trying to take credit for that.
no, Chris made us say it.
all right.
All right.
I dare say it was probably like Sammy's hard work at down at Heritage has shown the light and brought the other like quite corporate sponsorships now. It's nice that after 3 years someone's actually went, oh yeah, you guys, you can do something.
Well done.
Well done, you guys. But yes.
Well, now we've gotten that out of the way with.
Yes.
Do this.
Let's
I've
do
waited
this.
3 fucking years.
Right. Get it out of the way, Sammy. How excited are you?
Really, really excited. Like, what I've said to myself is I'm going to have to let you start the conversation for me to then jump in, because if not, I'm going to get way too excited and I'm going to ruin this episode.
So you're going to
And I don't
real
wanna
roll
do
it.
that.
You're just going to run in and go. Sammy's going full throttle, pelting in, pants down and everything, saying like she's excited. But yes,
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to do that. I'm really looking forward, and I'm so happy that we're now doing this. It's 3 years.
She's getting a Michael Scott moment. That's it is.
Oh yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, I've said to myself, I need to allow everyone to guide the conversation and me just join in, because otherwise I am going to ruin it, and I don't want to do that.
You won't ruin it, you daft son. But yes, I think Lee is like me. Lee was not an Office fan and was kind of forced into it because we were going to do an episode on The Office, and he had a blast through it. Chris and Sammy are like Office maniacs, shall we say. I know Chris's lovely other half, Molly, is a huge Office fan. And I did ask for it to come on, but the mean-spirited Chris said no. He wouldn't share the limelight with Molly.
Oh, yeah. I'm not having this. Not having these rumours.
Well, then put it straight then.
Yes.
All right. Molly doesn't want to come on because she said she doesn't like Paul.
Right, that's fair enough. I'll take that. That's fine. Molly, I can understand. Most people don't like me, so it's fine. Everyone loves Sammy. Everyone likes Chris. People tolerate Lee, but nobody likes me, so it's fine.
No, I am only joking. She is just doing stuff, wrapping presents and stuff downstairs, and she's like, "I need to hurry on."
That's fine. But yeah, Sam's tried to get me to watch this many times. Like I was an Office fan in the UK Office, and like I say, I didn't really think it would live up or be as good as, because let's be honest, like the Office UK is top level cringe humor, British style, and it's very British humor as well.
It is.
Yeah. When it comes
to have it to translate over. Yeah.
Because the Americans have done this a lot. Like they did Life on Mars, which didn't quite go over. They've done Shameless. They've done a lot of different Red Dwarf.
They've done the in between. Yeah, they did Red Dwarf. They did the in between. Is the Shameless one did what The Office did. So so the first episode is very much word for word the first episode of the UK one, but then they kind of like, once the characters are established, they then go off on their own, and it's exactly what The Office did as well.
Yeah, I think the problem I had, because it's, as you said, when you see the people involved and you hear people saying such good things about it, you'll give it a go. The first season, until you know the characters the way you get to know them, it's very difficult, because they try and do the British humour and it doesn't translate well. Let's be honest, the first season, if you've seen the British Office, you will think, no, this isn't for me. But but once you get to know them characters, and I think that's where the American Office takes over and goes, right, this is where I think, because they base everything on these characters and put them in American situations rather than in British situations like they were in the first season. And that's where this kind of takes off and grows legs. And like, I know people say from season 2, I wouldn't say season 2, like halfway through season 1, like say halfway through season 1, you fall in love with certain characters and you go along with a ride. But yeah, that was my take on it. But it took me a long time to get past season 1.
I can understand that, because the first few episodes are kind of mirror image of the UK one, and then they do start to branch out. And what you tend to forget, because this is so old now, is that at the time of the first season, Steve Carell is not the Steve Carell that you know him to be.
No.
He hasn't even done 40-year-old virgin at this point. So this is like a whole new act for him. And I only know one off the top of my head. The only person I know as an alternative cast member actually got to live out his Michael Scott dream in a later episode, which was Bob Odenkirk. He auditioned for Michael Scott,
right,
and obviously got knocked back for Steve Carell, but later on in the series he gets to play out his version of Michael Scott. Right. And I thought that was genius. That's the only alternative casting that I know.
Right.
But yeah, the first season's a bit touch and go. You've even got Amy Adams. She's not Amy Adams at that point. Nobody knows who she is. She's just fresh out of drama school. That's how that's how old it is.
To be fair, like, if you look through the whole series from season 1 to 9, the people who they get involved, even by cameos or like have guest appearances, they get the who's who of like not just American comedy but British comedy as well. But as I said, going back to the first season, because if you're known to basically the UK office, the characters in there, you start comparing like the things like Dwight to Gareth. And Tim and Jim. Like, I know the names are very similar, but like, you start comparing the characters and trying to get their like character flaws or problems from it. Once you move past that and you get like the relationships in these, I do think you get like more out of the characters. I know you get 9 seasons of it, but you do get more out of the characters in The Office US than you do in the UK. And I was so surprised by that.
Yeah, it gets to the point with the US one where it's not a fly on the wall documentary anymore. You're just watching a series. That's how it gets to the point. Whereas with the UK one, it always kept that flat. And I know there's only 3 series to compare against 9, but you always had that fly on the wall documentary. I'm just so glad that that Michael had so many differences to David Brandt. Even in the first episode, there was, as much as he was saying, almost the mirroring what he said, but in an American style. There was still a difference straight away. Yeah, which I really appreciated, and probably the reason why I kept with it.
And for a show as compact as this, the character development in this show is, I don't think there's many shows that can stand up to it, because each, like, I know there's like grow the characters, people leave, people come back, but each character have such a journey through all these seasons. It's amazing to watch, and it's amazing to experience as well. So there's not just one key story or key love story or key relationship. Like, they do have a few fumbles, which I know we'll talk about as well, but they get what they were trying to do, and they get the characters, and they allow them to kind of breathe as well, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, and when they don't, sorry, go on, Lee.
I was going to say half the characters don't. I don't think they actually get development, but they just start giving them more time, and it's just beautiful how you get to see what they actually like. Like Creed, Creed does not change throughout the whole series, but you keep seeing crazy little bits about him. Stanley as well. Like, Stanley doesn't act any different. Just the whole time, he's just like, I just want to go
home. Pretzel day. So when they stop getting the characters, when the development stops, and because there is a time in The Office where things does get stale, that's when you realize this has got to end. This has to end. You can tell the likes of Rainn Wilson and John Krasinski, they're ready for the out. Like, they're ready. They're ready to branch out now, and it starts to. So it does have its moments. So I'll appreciate when they ended it. To be honest, it probably should have been done a season earlier.
I still like the last season.
I don't mind the last season. I love the introduction of Nellie. Yeah. I think Catherine Tate was wasted. She should have been in it a hell of a lot more than what she was, and they should have kept with the Nellie you originally met when she's with Todd Packer and them. That's the one who should have, because she would have taken Andy on so much better as that character, as opposed to the Nellie who joins The Office. Definitely. But yeah, I love Catherine Tate. I even don't mind Charles Minor. Took us a long time to like the Charles Minor era, but I got there. It's all right. There's some good episodes out of it.
It's weird that people are like, oh, I love this character, but I think these characters are designed for you to hate them.
Yeah.
Like, nobody has any good qualities apart from like maybe Pam and a couple of others, but most people are just horrible.
See, that's where I get a bit of the opposite with this, because like with only like, you can compare this to like It's Always Sunny, like, because these characters in It's Always Sunny, you love them, but the worst of the worst, the awful people. These characters have bad traits, but it's like you get that with any Office person, but you also get like the moments to shine. like I mentioned Stanley. Like Stanley is one of the most selfish people, and he's like an adulterer. He does some wrong things, but in the later seasons, there's two episodes which gets Stanley, and it's beautiful. Like when Jim asks him and Phyllis to look after a few clients because he's going part time, and they make him take him for dinner, and they push him the buttons, but when they're like in the car, they go, "Yeah, we're always going to look after you. We'll love you guys," and it was just like a nice little moment. And the one where the elevator's out, and he climbs up the elevator. He says, "I'm not going down that elevator ever again. You get it fixed." So he has to. Then Dwight gets permission to use any forces needed, and basically uses a tranquilizer dart to get him. And that physical comedy and just absolutely brilliance of like Stanley out of it, and that like just at the whole like getting him back to the building. He's like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "You know what? You got me down. You're gonna have to get me back up." And he puts himself out. That moment was just. I was
Brilliant.
there, and it was everything for me.
Is it Stanley who they're carrying down the stairs and they drop him and he crashes like into the
Yep.
wall?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember it was him.
Physical comedy out of that man is absolutely brilliant because you don't get to see it enough.
No.
Because he's always sitting in that chair. But there's a lovely vulnerable moment. So Michael Scott is the epitome of awful. Like he is just awful. But there is one moment which really shows you who the true Michael Scott is when he doesn't know the cameras are on him, and it's the trick-or-treaters come to the door, and he's just super sweet and super kind, and that's Michael Scott.
Yeah. I don't think Michael Scott has a bad bone in him. He just doesn't get social cues. He's basically Chris. He's like said, like he's Chris like doesn't get social cues, doesn't get how to act around people, says the most inappropriate things, but you do love him. But
Look at his face, man.
but
oh, bless him.
But no, I know it's going to like talk about the characters, but I'm interested to know who first of all, who your favorite characters are. So I know Chris has been a bit quiet, so I'll go Chris. Who's your favorite character, Chris?
Right. First of all, the most relatable character in the whole series is my favorite, Stanley.
Right.
He's just there. He's just clock watching the whole time. He's got I've got some notes. This is just on Stanley.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see meatball.
Nothing else. Yeah. Do you know when he pulls a prank with Jeremy? It's like, get me bald. the way he tells off Ryan for sniffing around his daughter.
He's a 14-year-old girl.
Have you lost your mind? Because I'll help you find it. One of them's where he's got a dream where he wants to live in a lighthouse where nobody knows that he lives there, and it flies into space.
All right.
As well, I don't know if that's. I can't remember what episode it's from. I just think he's the most. And he's diabetic.
Right.
Forgot that one.
There you go.
My
Representing.
Yeah. My favorite part of him is, do you know, when they're away on the retreat and they're doing the sumo thing, and he absolutely takes out Jim, and he's just like, sometimes you got to take the points from the whites, and he's like, right on.
And he's like, I've never been so scared of Stanley in my life.
But the way he just switches from like calm man with a mustache, he's definitely got a mustache.
Yes.
Yeah, from just calm man, and then he just switches to shouting at someone, or his burst of energy, or his comedic moments. I just think he's the most relatable, best character.
Okay.
And
good choice.
The way he progressives when you see him in vacation mode. Do you know when he hires the muscle car and that, and he's just like, live fast and leave a pretty corpse and stuff like that.
Yep. He gets his dream in the end, doesn't he? Because he goes and lives remotely, and he's proper chill when he comes back for like the reunion and that. Like he's a completely different Stanley because work just never agreed with him.
Yeah,
very much so. What about you, Lee?
It's so difficult to choose. So I mean, Dwight. I love Dwight, and you get so much of Dwight. And he would be my favorite character if Creed didn't exist, but we don't get enough of Creed. You just get small snippets every now and then of just the craziest shit. Like Like that bit where he comes in on Halloween and he's covered in blood, and everyone's like, "Oh, nice costume," and he's like,
Costume.
"Costume?" He's like, "Oh, what a coincidence!"
It's when he walks up to the kids' toys that they've got that they've been collecting, and he just picks one up, and Jim's like, "You're meant to be putting them down," and he goes, "In a Merry Christmas to you too."
And Dwight like telling Creed like, "Oh, I think Jim's a vampire. Have you got any stakes or anything?" And he just pulls the drawer open, and it's just full of weapons.
And when they think they're going under, Creed just takes a catalogue of everything so he can sell it. And he manages the print, you know, where they have the dodgy print on the paper, and Creed manages to backtrack the person who was off the day, so he can blame it on them.
But I think that where Creed shines is he gets his little moments. But when we first get introduced to him as well is when he's going to get sacked, and he manages to talk Michael around and not get fired. I think
To get the boss.
it's but like some of the moments in there like were created. It's fantastic. Like when he gets made manager because he's the most senior person there. And he's just ringing up people, slagging them off, saying we're going under. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just ringing up to say you were awful to us and you're useless, and I hate you."
It's the pinboard, boo body, boo body, boo body. So Creed Bratton is Creed Bratton. That's what his name is. Creed's a singer, and his song, when they're doing karaoke in the office, what he sings is actually one of his songs. And that's the kind of style. He's like a Jimmy Buffett kind of style singer. But he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't meant to be in the series at all. He was just a background character. I don't know if you've ever noticed in the first episode, there is so many different people sitting around that you don't ever get to see again. Creed was meant to be one of those people until they did a sit down with him in the interview room, and they were just like, "Oh, guys, no, we can't get rid of him. He has to stay." I think it was Toby, because he's one of the main writers, did a little part for him, a little speech line. I think it was to get him paid.
Right.
Because they don't get paid very often if they don't have lines. It was something like that. It was something like to be kind to him. And they loved him. They were like, his delivery was absolutely perfect. Creed's a brilliant character, and his ending is just it matches Creed completely.
But I probably got emotional on the last episode with Creed because when they're talking about the Olympics and he's going, "I've still got my medal," and like they kind of make a joke about it and saying, "But you don't even have a medal." So yeah, but I've still got my medal, and it's just like that kind of moment there. There's like, oh, he actually does, because he never really was part of anything or part of them. What was going on? He was always like either in the periphery or causing as much mayhem as possible. But yeah, and that.
Oh, sorry, Paul. Go on.
What were you going to say?
The picnic episode. Where he's where they're all sitting doing the hot dog eating competition, and he's just been fly fishing. And he comes out with the fish, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know we were having hot dog."
But what about you, Sammy? What character are you going to go with?
I love Dwight. Dwight is probably one of my favorite, and it's probably an obvious choice because of how amazing Rainn Wilson is throughout all of this. But I absolutely also adore Angela Kingsley. I think Angela is such an underrated character. She's a bitch. She's absolutely horrible, but she still delivers some of the greatest one-liners. I really do like, and her and Dwight were made for each other.
Yes, like from the moment they got to start hooking up, that was just like it made sense. I think that's why this show worked so well. All the relationships that were in it didn't feel forced. There was nothing that like didn't feel organic or kind of like even like the friendships they made and how, because like if you talk about like friendships like Angela and Oscar, like she's like proper militant Christian white woman in America, hates from the Bible Belt, that hates everything to do with like say queer culture and anything like that, and he's like like as you said, Latino is coming out, and like say how they dealt with his coming out was absolutely brilliantly done as well. So
Just watch it.
funnily and just interesting. But their like friendship towards the end, it felt natural, and it
Yeah.
was so nice to see.
Especially when he has an affair with her husband,
Yeah,
and she still manages to like get past that, and it's like his friendship was more important than the husband.
yeah,
That's how it felt when it come to them two, and what happened, because when they started living together, when he was like, because she became homeless, and he's like, when he packs her up and just takes her, and he's like, come on, you're coming with me, and I'm bawling my eyes out. I love their relationship. I actually love all the accountants themselves, like the little nook. They did actually have their own little web series. See, the little web series. They had their own little web series to accommodate, like to accompany The Office, called The Accountants.
right.
It's a true story. They're out there somewhere.
When you're saying like the dealt with Oscars coming out really well, I am. In what way do you mean? Because it seemed very homophobic how they dealt with it. They went out and bought a gaydar.
Well, no, that's Michael's, but that's Michael's way of. Michael's so oblivious. Like all he thinks about is what's trendy, what's funny, like what are the kids, what's down with the kids. He really doesn't realize how wrong he actually is.
Yeah, to answer Lee's question though, the way they handled it though, they didn't like sugarcoat it or like try and play it nicey. They were like made jokes and not light of it, but showed how probably a lot of people were treated when coming out when certain situations. So that's what I meant. Like did well. They made it like quite like in a funny way, realistic at the same time.
Yeah.
And
that episode does lead to one of my favorite moment in all of The Office, which is when it's like, oh, what about Angela? Do you think she could be gay? I can imagine her with a woman, and Dwight's just like, just that look. Oh,
I've just watched that episode.
But this my favorite characters are like Sammy. Like I love Dwight. I think Dwight has the best journey through this movie. My answer would have been one person, but I think they did fuck up this character for a lot of like the later series, and they got it right at the very end. But Kevin's journey was great at the start, till they made him too stupid to the point where it was ridiculous, and it kind of spoiled his character a little bit more when he becomes the total ultimate buffoon. But then when they finished it and had him in the bar, that just fit his character perfectly. But that, like I say, they kind of messed up with him. But the other two I would like to talk to, like, I'll answer my favorite character is probably Daryl. I love Daryl and think
forget about Daryl.
He is amazing. Like I might be because I love the Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well with the Pontiac Bandit, but his performance as Daryl is just so great when he's going from like a little bit quieter in the background to moving upstairs, and like because they realized what they had with Daryl and how good he was.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of the only people that I feel deserves to get where he was at the end. Like he worked hard all the way through.
Yeah.
He was doing his job in the warehouse, even though Michael's coming down and fucking it up for him all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he works hard to try and put the effort into this sports company thing that Jim's like starting up. And he deserves everything he gets.
He does. And he realizes, because when he goes for the interview with manager's position, that he was going to have it handed to him. When he goes to work for Jim with the sports thing, he's not going to have things handed to him. And that's that's progression. That's growth. Craig Robinson was always Daryl to us in this house until Brooklyn Nine-Nine came, and unfortunately he is now always and forever be known as Doug Judy.
Doug Judy.
But I do love Craig Robinson in this. He has some of my favorite episodes. But the idea. So when Steve Carell left, they were kind of lost as to what to do, who to put in Michael's place. And before they went with the Andy choice, they were going to do Daryl. But what they were going to do is, because the long-standing, not conspiracy, but theory that the fans have is that The only reason Dunder Mifflin succeeded for is because of the production company.
Right.
They were the ones buying the paper.
Yeah.
That was one of the fan theories, was they were the ones buying the paper, and that's why they stayed in business as long as they did, because realistically, they shouldn't have stayed in business as long as they did.
No.
So, yeah, and what they were going to do is put Daryl in charge, but have everything working as it should be.
Yeah, that would have been, because I think if put Darren in charge, it wouldn't be the funny, because everything would work as normal.
No, they were going to have no chaos.
Yeah.
No, nothing, and it was just gonna like kind of pan out that way to where they would then end it. But it doesn't. When you say it out loud, it doesn't sit right.
No,
it just sounds too boring. So putting Andy in that position and making him the new Michael Scott,
yeah,
which is essentially what they tried to do, even though it ruined the character.
Yeah,
I was really unhappy when they brought James Spader in and he was like Michael's replacement.
So weird.
I cannot stand that character.
Robert California is one of the greatest stand-ins. I'm sorry. That man is the fucking Lizard King. He is hilarious. No, I really do love Robert California.
Is that his name though?
Yeah. Well, we don't know, do we?
Because
we don't know.
The most confident man on the planet.
Yeah, he manages to talk his way out of talk his way into a company, then to talk his way out of it, leaving better than what he was when he initially walked in. That's genius.
So here's the next question I had planned for this one as well. Which character do you see yourself most in? Like,
what, like in a sexual way?
Well, you can do if you want to do that.
If you want to take it down that road, Chris, you do that.
But yeah, which of the characters do you see? I know with the characters change and stuff. Do you see your personality the most in? I'll start if it makes sense, because I know it's going to sound like quite up my own arse, but probably it's Jim. I do myself see Jim just because probably how I am at work and stuff. When I worked at like certain companies, I was the one that was pulling pranks. Like say, we had ones where I would sellotape, well, not to sellotape, duct tape people's work desks and boxes together. So all the equipment before they start work, they had to actually use a blade to cut into the stuff. So I could see myself doing stuff to Dwight that Jim was doing.
Yeah. Does any of you have the impression sometimes that as much as Jim's meant to be lovable, and he is, and to like, I'm really pushing here, does he not come across a bit fucking irritating with you, especially when he's being a dick to other people?
Yeah.
Without him,
Yeah.
Because he is, isn't he?
That's why I see myself a lot.
But it's when he tries to move Ryan out of his chair. Like, I'm sorry, you left. Who are you to tell Ryan to move out of his chair?
Oh, fuck Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ryan initially, yes. Ryan when he becomes boss. Now that was a shocker for me when I first watched this, for Ryan to become boss. But then Ryan gets his upcomings all the time. He always gets his arse handed to him. It's a good character, and it's a really hard question as well. I'm trying to like derail to try and like.
I've noticed. I'm not going to let you get past this one. I'll go with Chris. Who do you see yourself as, Chris? I reckon the Stratton Strangler, Toby.
I don't know. I'm a completely different person when I'm at work. So again, I'm picking my favorite character, Stanley. 1, he's diabetic. 2, he's just there. He wouldn't notice if you put a cardboard box over his screen.
Right.
Nobody can remember if I've got a mustache or not. Love meatballs. So yeah, gotta go with Stanley.
And Pretzel Day.
Oh, imagine if we had Pretzel Day.
What about you, Lee?
I mean, you've seen me outside of work pulling pranks and doing stupid stuff anyway and winding people up. I used to be like this in work. I can't do it now because I work by myself at home.
You'd just be doing it to yourself.
But I did used to do stuff like I glued my manager's stuff to a desk once when I worked at William Hill. It's just daft little pranks, definitely Jim-like.
Well, if we're referring to like people at work, then I am definitely a Pam, or even an Angela. Like I am very much to the like I work. I don't piss around. Like I'm there for 10 hours a day. I don't have like I can't be asked to piss around. I just want to get the time over with.
Right.
So-
So you're not the one that gets drunk and starts flashing her boobs.
I'm not a
that one.
Meredith.
No.
I'm definitely not a Meredith.
I think-
I
I
might
think
have
I-
red hair, but I'm definitely not a Meredith.
I dare say Lee's a Meredith. I reckon Lee would end up like flashing or trying to. Yeah.
It's casual day.
He would have his balls hanging out all over the place.
Can't even
Hanging
disagree.
brain.
Yeah. Sorry, you've just reminded us of another episode where Phyllis gets flashed. And Creed's like, wait, what's the problem? I say, swing low, sweet chariot.
You got Michael like
Oh.
coming in, like showing everyone off. Then Toby's like, "No, Michael, you can't do this."
It's when Michael realizes he's taken it too far. Then he's like, oh shit, yeah, maybe I should stop. Because he like laughs at like him and Phyllis. I love the relationship between him and Phyllis.
Mhm.
Because they went to school together, and it's such a great development that you find out as it kind of goes along. It's not something that you initially know. The actress who plays Phyllis was the casting director.
Right.
So she was the lady who was casting everyone and sitting down and reading lines with everyone. And when they heard her delivering Phyllis, they were like, "Oh shit! We
Yeah.
just found out she was an ex-burlesque dancer.
All right.
That's why she did. Well, you've not seen her dancing when she's in the show.
I was just like, say, there's certain things with Phyllis, like her wedding episode. That's one of the episodes I had.
I love that.
I can't watch fully. It's like it's too cringy. Like Michael in that episode is just like I would have punched the fuck out of him like happily.
Yeah.
Can I just say to people watching, just rewind that like 20 seconds. Watch Chris's face when he finds out Phyllis used to be a burlesque dancer. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to Google that after this episode."
Oh, I
I'm
thought he was
thinking of
pulling the
slightly
face
doing
because
it
he.
now.
I thought he was pulling a face because he knew that. I love that one. Bob Vance from Vance Refrigerations looks like he is going to absolutely punch the shit out of him. Do you know why he says that for all the time?
Yes.
Bob Vance from Vance Refrigerations. It's because he's on telly and
We
he's
are.
advertising himself all the time.
Oh, so Chris, like, "Oh, so what do you do, Vance?" From Ryan.
Yeah.
So, which characters do you think they messed up on? I know I've mentioned Kevin, the kind of fluff.
I don't agree with that. I don't
Right,
agree.
okay.
I really like Kevin.
I love Kevin. He's one of Ant's favorite characters. He's a very underrated character. Yes, they do make it, but it's how endearing Kevin is and how the actor actually pulls it off that makes it work. It's not a full Joey from Friends moment
No.
where he's just gone from like, normal to completely and utterly stupid. Kevin has these moments where he knows when to not be daft. And he knows when to reel it back. But one of the best Kevin moments is the chili out moment. It's
Oh,
some of the
I liked
greatest
it.
physical comedy.
I liked it when he was first introduced to Holly when she thinks he's slow. And she's like, "Oh, you drive your own car?" And he's like, "Yeah, I drive my own car."
Do you think you want an M&M?
Yeah. I keep them in here so nobody takes them. That's a safe space for them, Kevin.
But then when he's in the same episode, he goes to the supermarket and he bumps into Michael's ex, whose name is
Yeah.
completely throwing me off at this
Jan.
moment. Jan, that's it. And he tells Michael that he needs to come down because there's things that he needs to, Jan's pregnant. So he's not all as daft as what he makes out to be. He just knows how to act up to it. And I think that's just genius on his part. It
Yeah.
makes him more endearing.
See, I didn't see that as genius. I saw that as him going, "You need to see this. You need to look at this.
Look at this.
I want to
Check
see
this
your
out.
I want to see your face when you see this."
I love Mallory, what's her face, who plays Jan. Especially when she gets the twins. They are absolutely brilliant. But it's
What's
when
that kid
she's
called?
it's Astrid.
Astrid.
Ostrich.
It's when she's with
Astrid.
it's when she's with Astrid and she's singing to her. It's,
was
Oh,
What was it?
oh.
What was
Well,
the
she
song
does-
again? It was a song from one of Tarantino's films.
oh, she sings she sings at the baby shower, doesn't she? Because she's but it's when she's with Astrid. How she like goes, how was school?
Oh,
What
yeah.
did you learn?
But again, she
It's
went
that
from like a
moment.
quite a normal, like straight laced character to absolutely to the like ridiculous levels. But I don't know if like Michael drove her to that level.
It's the sandals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns people.
It's the song that the one of the episodes I don't particularly like watching, and I do tend to skip over it, is the dinner party one.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's the moment where you hear Hunter's song. That's the only bit I find funny is the "Oh Jen."
Do you not like it when Michael's showing off his flat screen TV on the wall?
It's like
Have you ever seen the bloopers for that?
Yeah, that's why I find it funny.
Because Jim just cannot breathe. I used to listen to the ladies podcast, Pam and Angela's podcast, and I just dropped off halfway through it because I think they took a break and I just never went back. But you remember when Michael did the $6 Million Man, the across the floor? They had to record that in 2 sections because the what's her face, Pam, I can't think of her name, Jenna, what's her face, she couldn't stop laughing. But she literally couldn't keep her face in. So there's moments where it flashes back to her. That's just a completely separate shot because she couldn't do him walking across the floor as a $6 Million Man.
The thing is, Michael Scott though, he has so many like moments that shouldn't work as well as they do. But I think it's just like the way he delivers it as well as an innocence to him, where you can't think, like anything bad. Like when he meets Ricky Gervais on the lift.
Yeah, you can't you can't quite reenact that because they do the whole ping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a moment, that mind. Them two coming face to face with each other. Because you do see Brent's interview, like he's I don't know if you call it an audition or what, to be the manager, where he's video
interview type thing, because
yeah,
because some of the people that get to interview for the manager's job.
Oh my god, yeah. Is it Jim
Carrey?
Jim Carrey, the Finger Lakes guy.
Finger Lakes, yeah. Ray Romano's in there with these sandwiches.
He's convinced that he was told that these people were horrible.
Yeah, and he really likes it. But Michael is there's some moments where he's just awful, but then he pulls it back again. One of my favorite episodes is the Phyllis being Santa Claus episode, and he is an utter child throughout all that, to the point where he even dresses up as Jesus to try and outdo. It's actually when Kevin's sitting on his knee. And he's like, what do you want for Christmas, little boy?
That episode did remind us a lot of Lee. I think Lee would do that if he was wanted to play Santa Claus and someone else was in. I think Lee would.
Chris.
If it was Chris, Lee would basically be the one kicking off, making a big show of himself.
He's not tall enough to be Santa.
He's not jolly.
But he did it to Daryl as well in another Christmas episode where Daryl wanted to be Santa Claus and he didn't like that either. Michael is an absolute brat. It shows it in the wedding where there's a clip of him as a kid at his mum's wedding, and he gets upstaged by a dog, and he goes off crying.
If we're talking about videos like of Michael Scott as a kid, that video when he's getting talked to by the puppet.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
That is like you don't know what to say. Like, should I be laughing? Should I be crying? Like,
and he's sitting there so proud of it. He's like, "Look, I was on a show."
Dressed in the same suit he's probably wearing now as an adult.
And all the kids are going, "Well, did you get married? Did you have kids?" And Michael's like, "Nope, that didn't happen."
And this is why I love when Holly comes in.
Yeah,
because Holly is his soulmate. The minute they speak Yoda to each other on the first episode, you knew that was his connect. That was his soulmate. The proposal when he does Yoda again, and it's like, oh, it's such a moment. I love them too, and I love the fact that on the very last episode, you get to hear all about his life with Holly, but he doesn't say a goddamn word because it's not about him.
Yeah.
Michael learned lessons.
The Holly situation was a funny one for me because I loved Holly bringing in, but it made us hate one of the characters that I thought was quite likable throughout, David Wallace, because David Wallace is such a nice, likable character all the way through this show, and he does something like just to like kind of like, and that's the thing that is so out of character for him when he realizes like Michael and Holly are together. He like sends her back to Nashville, isn't it? Is it Nashville?
Yeah.
Because like all the way through this, like David Wallace is just like, I know it sounds weird, but he's a good boss. He makes all the right decisions. He doesn't.
Oh no, it doesn't. Like, how many times have you, like, through watching this for the first time, did you just go, why aren't you firing Michael? Like, how are you letting him keep his job?
He was always on the side of Michael, and I never understood why. But I'm guessing because he asks him to come in, doesn't he, and says like, "What are you doing? Everyone else is failing. How are you still performing?" And I think that's the only reason. He just sees numbers, and he tolerates so much with Michael. But I do like it when Michael. Okay.
Did they not survive because was it Meredith slept with the supplier for cheaper paper supplies
for steaks?
Steaks.
Take me out tonight. I don't want to be one of the best coupons for steak, and then like him and Holly's having that meeting saying, "This is really against like the code," and Meredith's like, "Nope, I had immunity. You can't do anything." And they're like, "No." But when they tell corporate, they get, we don't see anything wrong here. Nope, we're making money. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just money, pound signs with them. Wallace does have a bit of a journey in this as well.
Doesn't he invent a sucker thing?
Oh, suck it.
Suck it.
Yeah, suck it. That gets it bought off by the military, and that's how he kind of lands on his feet at the end.
And becomes the boss again.
Yes, because Andy says you can get it back for you at a cheaper thing. That again, I know Sammy doesn't like Andy. I feel sorry for Andy because I think the performances and what he could do, but they just didn't know what they wanted to do with him at times.
They lost Ed Helms quite a bit. Ed Helms had it in his contract that he would be leaving for the Hangover movies, and it wouldn't matter when it would happen. He would just be going for them. So they stumbled so much with Andy's character. When they got it right is the time he was there the longest, and that's leading. And I know a lot of people don't like the Erin like relationship, but it's leading around that time. That's when Andy is perfect. And then it's when he becomes manager and the Nod Dog. And there is moments of him, like, especially with Daryl, where he's like, when Daryl's having his doubts and Andy's like, he picks him up. That's the Andy we remember. But the last season, Andy is horrible. That is just, it's not him. They completely and utterly ruined him.
The best Andy is when he's Oscar's wingman in Canada.
Yeah. It's when he's with Angela, actually, like the Angela era. That's a good Andy. And when he comes back, like Andy to start with is not a very like you don't really look at him as a high ranking player in this.
No.
Even when he goes up
brilliant.
Oh,
it's like, who put this in Jello? Tell me now.
Him and Dwight going up against each other, now that was a good move.
When he ran him down in the car, that was hilarious.
With the Tesla, because it's silent. That was just brilliant. But it was like a counter for Dwight, because Dwight didn't really have anyone. Jim annoyed him and pranked him, but he never had anyone to physically go up against. And when Dwight comes in with the Cornell jumper on, and they do the administration interview, and then he comes in with the beats and he eats one, and it's just Dwight like newbie. That was a good power match, them two, and they probably could have kept that going for ages and nobody would have gotten bored of it.
No, I don't necessarily think it was like a boring thing with Andy. It was kind of like, as you said, they got a certain points, like where do we move him with, and they just made him, as you said, trying to be like a Michael Scott light. But again, I think Molly said there, like going off on the boat. I know it's probably going off to do the movies, but have him go back to anger management would have been funnier. Like have him have a meltdown or something like that. And I felt sorry for Erin because she got kind of bounced around. Like, say, she had his initial relationship, then moved on to one of the most weird relationships, like Gabe, that didn't make any sense at all, and they kind of moved off that quickly. And
talk
then,
about a character.
Gabe.
Talk about a character that did not know what to do with.
No,
the one that in it, but he's the guy from Silicon Valley.
Is he
He's
like
a really skinny guy.
New Jim?
No, that's Pete.
No.
That's Pete.
Ah, right.
That was towards the end. Pete. Gabe was just like he was thingy. Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates.
That would be mint if Kathy Burke was in this, but Kathy Bates' character Joe.
Yeah, kind of relative kind of thing.
Fucking hell! I hated him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just wanted him to like get run over by a car or something. I hated him so much.
Yeah. He's brilliant in Silicon Valley. Like and don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic actor. But his character in Silicon Valley is still my favorite. But they had too many things going on with him. Like his movies, his horror. Like he was a horror fanatic, and like proper. Yeah, thanks. While you're sitting there with a Monsters t-shirt on.
fucking ghoul. But
God damn it. But yeah, Gabe's a weird one. That was a weird choice to bring him in. But you've just mentioned somebody who is absolutely phenomenal, and this is Kathy Bates as Joe.
Dogs.
The fact that she brings 2 different dogs in every time she comes in. Don't ride my dogs. Everyone seems to think they can ride them.
One of the funniest Kathy Bates episode is she wasn't in much, but it was the one where Dwight fires the gun, and then then she's getting everyone to like interview, like try and find a new manager and stuff like that. And Dwight's trying to force himself back in a way, and he's texting his resume like word by word. And she goes, "You cost me 35 cents a message here."
It's when he comes in as the burn victim.
The invisible man.
Yeah, it's when he initially shoots it off and it's in Andy's direction and then skims past his ear. And as Daryl goes to take him to the hospital to get checked out, he leans on him and starts limping. And he's like, "I thought it was your ear." And he's like, "Oh yeah." That's such a good episode. The St. Patrick's Day one is another good Joe episode. Joe, when she initially comes in and she just sits down and asks everyone, what do you bring to the table? And that's when Daryl gets his promotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing though with Daryl, as he said, he has so many good ideas and so many interesting like little things. And I love it when he gets like frustrated with certain things as well. When he like initially, I don't know, it's Andy, isn't it, that he starts giving ideas to, and he's saying, it goes over his head. I can't get my words out now. I don't know why.
No, it's Michael. It's Michael. It's a Halloween episode where he gives an idea. Corporate end up going with the idea, but Michael doesn't know that Daryl's gone to tell them about it and gone over his head. He just thinks that and like Daryl's getting no credit for it. That is such a good episode. That is the MacGruber. That is probably one of my favorite episodes. Is because it's when them two start fighting with each other, and he comes in from damn Daryl from the warehouse.
Talking about favorite episodes, is there any episodes that you can't watch for specific reasons?
Yeah.
Would you like
I know
to
which one Sammy's going to say.
I can watch it now, but initially on first watching, I had to turn it off. It was like my toes were curling with how, and I love cringe comedy. It's my favorite like style of comedy. And even this was too much for me. Was Scott's Tots. The idea that Michael could.
I love that episode. I love it that Stanley kept the newspaper clipping for 10 years as well.
And he's like laughing his ass off at it.
It's been 10 years already.
But then on initial watching, I was like toes curled round. I was like, this is horrible. Like giving them kids the dream of like, I'll pay for your college tuition, because he really thought in his arrogance he was going to be a millionaire, multi-millionaire at that.
So there's two ways you can look at that. It was either his arrogance that he was going to be a millionaire, or he didn't have any faith in them motherfuckers at all.
That is a good
Yeah.
point.
I just
So-
saw it as he was that good of a guy that he just wanted to do something
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
It probably was in a way. Like Michael's like he's such a two-sided coin, because there's the selfish side of Michael, but then there's also the kind of like really thoughtful side. Michael does have some lovely, genuine moments. They're just very hard to find sometimes.
If you look
I
at
don't
everything
see
that
what-
if you look at everything that Michael does, like sometimes he comes across as the buffoon idiot, but he does have such shining, and not just like shining moments, like strong moments, like that when they're all worried about the company going in liquidation, so he
Oh,
brings that
that's-
game in, murder, and Jim is getting so flustered and saying like let's prove that we're worth, and like Michael's getting no, we need to take the thing, and like he loses it with Jim, and that's the first time you see Michael lose it with Jim, because he treats Jim like almost like a surrogate son, and you realize he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not just a bumbling idiot. And the time when he takes that big corporate guy to Chili's instead of like the posh area, and that's where Jan sees his worth and stuff like that, and how he negotiates the Michael Scott paper company
Yeah.
to get everyone's jobs. That was just, I did not see that coming.
That is Michael though, isn't it? Because Michael. There's a reason Michael is where he's at, is because he's a fucking brilliant salesman, and he does it in the episode I've just walked away from before we came on, was where they're at the not retreat, but like convention kind of thing, when
Yeah.
Jim's
Yeah.
moved away, and he literally just comes in and he's like, deal. He's like done the biggest deal that they've done all weekend. Michael just walks in and does that. You forget that Michael is really fucking good at his job because of all of the other daft shit that goes around with it. But that episode, that was on my list as one of my favorites. Yeah, my brain's just gonna
It's went into overdrive.
overdrive. There's too much going on.
That's fine. There's so, like, when you talk about like absolute brilliant episodes or brilliant moments in this show, I know we're not going to look down the lovey-dovey route as of yet, but when Dwight gets salesman of the year and he's got to give a big speech, and Jim kind of programs him to almost give him like all these fascists and like like dictators through the past and how they've delivered their speeches. And seeing Dwight in front of a corporate company absolutely owning it, honestly, I was crazy. Then Michael getting all pissy and jealous and saying, well, didn't you? Well, I've just entertained the person that entertained 1,000 people for by myself. So who's the true hero there? It's like, oh fucking hell! Can't even give him his due there.
He cannot give him the credit, can he? What was I going to say? Honestly, my brain's like going in overdrive trying to remember shit.
No, there's loads of stuff. Again, I know in the last season we start getting more of certain aspects. Like I know there was talk after this finished that they were going to do, like they wanted to do like the farm with Dwight and Angela, or they didn't want Angela. That was one of the stumbling blocks. But I loved Dwight's outside of the office stories and stuff. Like when you met Dwight's family, it was so
B&B.
interesting. like Moore's what a guy. But when his brother and sister, when they go to like that funeral and they have to shoot the dead body to make sure it's dead.
So amazing.
Yeah. And he
Who is it that like? Who is it leaves? Someone's just like, no, I'm not.
Oscar.
Yeah.
Because he walks
His
out the office
brother-
throwing black soot in people's face in. And if you throw a red suit, you would come. And Oscar makes a snide comment, so he's just like, right. So he invites Oscar, like just to piss him off.
The last season's always very hazy with us because I only ever get to season 7 and I turn back around again and go back to episode 1. And it's not for other reason than I just nowadays, because I've seen it so many times, I can just like pick and choose like what it is I want to watch, so I never do a full run anymore. So the likelihood is by the time it gets to Michael leaving, I'm turning back around. But I know Moz is the creator of The Office.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And the creator of Parks and Rec.
Parks
He's a
and
big deal. Yeah,
He's a big deal.
He's a big deal. Yeah, and I can imagine why they wouldn't want Angela as part of a spin-off, because
Mhm.
Angela was once married to Toby's brother, who is another big deal of the show, and they got divorced halfway through this. There's a lot of set relationships actually.
My husband's a baker now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Jenna, what's Jenna's surname, man?
Fisher?
Ortega.
No, what's sorry, Lee?
Fisher? Is it
Yes,
Fisher?
Jenna
Yeah.
Fisher. Well, she was married to James Gunn once.
Oh, yeah.
And then the nurse who comes in to help her to breastfeed,
Mhm.
that's her husband.
Right.
Jim, we all know John Krasinski is now happily married to Emily Blunt and living like the best life ever.
Mhm.
But he was in a relationship with what's her name from Parks and Rec?
Stanley.
You wish. She's in the third series. Come on, help us out. What's her name?
I never watched the Parks
Is it
and Rec.
Leslie from Parks and Rec? Or
No.
Leslie Knope's the blonde one.
Leslie
Right.
Knope is
The main
it's
one.
Yeah, it's
The nursemaid.
it's Anne. Yeah, Anne Perkins. Wow,
Yeah.
what's that real name?
I don't know
Yeah,
real
that's-
names.
I've never watched the show, to be honest.
who was
Parks
she
and
in Parks and Rec?
She's in The Office too.
Oh,
she's
She's a
Anne
nurse.
Perkins. Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones. Oh my
Rashida
gosh,
Jones, yes.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones's daughter.
Yeah, Karen.
Jesus
Karen in this
Christ.
this season.
Yes, John Krasinski and her were in a relationship.
Yeah. All right.
When they first started shooting together.
All right.
And it went on until he eventually met Emily Blunt. So he did a real life gym on her.
Right, oh dear me.
Um,
But it's quite a nice segue. We can talk about the relationships because like the main relationship throughout the running like that runs through the course of the show is the Pam and Jim. It's almost like the Ross and Rachel.
well, won't they?
Yes,
Well,
type thing.
it's the original Tim and Dawn from the original Office, and it doesn't take a fucking Christmas special for them to finally get together. It was quite a natural thing. It did take 3 seasons, but it got there, and it was built up lovely.
It was.
I still think.
Sorry, Chris.
I was just saying. I think that the best and the relationship I loved following the most was still Michael and Holly.
Yeah.
I think that was better than Jim and Pam.
I think 'cause it
Controversial now, Chris.
No, and I see where Chris is coming from is because Jim and Pam, you knew they were meant to be together.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael, you were always like, look at the relationships he has. The woman who we bought the condo off, who's actually his real life wife. And then you've got Jan, and you just think he's always going to go back to Jan. Like there was always going to be something to drag him back to Jan. And then when Holly comes in, it's such a breath of fresh air to finally find the female version of Michael Scott.
And you saw
Because that's essentially what she was.
You did see the best form of Michael when they were together as well.
Yeah, the
That
nice
was-
side of Michael.
Yeah, that's when like the true
This-
Michael came out.
There's a few relationships in between that are just some of the worst parts of this show.
Pam's
Where
Go
it's
on, then.
like when he's dating the is it the
Pam's mum.
Asian lass?
Oh,
And then she's
when
like,
he-
"Oh, I need to go home to do my homework," and she's like, turns out she's like 15 or something. And it's like, "Oh no!"
It's when he's going. He goes, she could have been the one, and Jim was like, but she's not. I was there for the entirety of this relationship. Like how Jim just plays along with it. I forgot about Pam's mom and the
Yeah.
slap.
Yeah.
The second version of her mum.
Oh yes, because they did want to bring her back, but she was doing something else, so they had to go with another actress.
Yeah.
But I think this one works well for Michael. I don't think you could have done that with the original mom.
It's
Just
hilarious.
to look at her.
No, it's hilarious the turn though when it comes to like when Michael realizes that she's going to be a grandmother and realizing how old she is. It's just like, oh shit! It's like, oh Michael, no, don't,
And
no.
you're like, oh, you could just wait till the next day, just like let her have her birthday. But no, he's so impulsive. He has to do it right there and then, and make such a drama out of it. But that punch is just, oh, it's the best. Watching Pam finally get it, it was great.
And you see Mike.
Quite liked it when Michael got slapped in Diversity Day. Do you know when
by
they all
Kelly.
have the races on by Kelly Air and have the races
What was he
on?
saying to her, Chris? And
I
in
can't
what
remember yet.
accent?
No,
I
All
can't-
reminders.
Let's not go there.
Let's try not get our YouTube channel cancelled, please. Thank you, fellas. You just want a slot on a Tuesday, don't you?
But yeah,
What a what on Tuesday?
that's what
That's
she
what
said.
she said.
Ah.
But yeah, I did get quite annoyed when the showrunners or like they decided that they were going to try and put some like almost like they were trying to break up
Yeah.
Pam and Jim. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel right. Like I got really angry when they started involving the sound guy as well. I was like, no,
Because it
why
took
would-
you out of the series. As
Yeah.
you said, it played out like a series, not a documentary. I didn't watch the original UK Office,
Mhm.
so I can't speak for that. But I watched this as a series, not a fly
Yeah.
in the wall documentary.
But that's how good it is that it gets you to that point in the first like few episodes. You don't even think of it as flying the wall, whereas the
Yeah.
UK one, you never leave that.
No.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's probably because of how it's shot. Like
Mhm.
it's not shot great. This one's like kind of perfect, isn't it?
And that's the only time
Yeah.
in this show that it felt forced as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am a bit controversial. Don't particularly like the Aaron parent drop at
No.
the end.
No.
Thought-
Yeah.
Did not like that at all. Even if it was Joan Cusack,
Yeah.
like love the woman, but that was just it felt we didn't need to know.
I think it was trying to
It
tie up
felt like-
all the loose ends
Yeah.
that they felt like we needed to know, but it was kind of like
But-
that could have been a full season or a full few episodes,
Yeah.
and you've just kind of put it in.
She-
I don't-
No, just leave
She's-
it out.
She's always
care.
been proud of the fact that she was in foster care. Like, and yeah, they had a moment where they thought, honestly, if they played the route of Phyllis being her mum,
yeah.
and like that would have been more interesting.
Mhm.
But then to have like a mum and dad appear at the end, and it's like such a happy moment. It's like, oh, nah, next. But don't get me wrong, I do like the ending, and I do get very emotional with Dwight
Mhm.
firing Jim.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
No,
That is, it was a moment because that was their relationship is probably one of the greatest out of the
Mm.
whole series.
yeah.
Like you can say Pam and Jim and everyone, but it's them two and where they get to at the very end. Like he becomes his best Schmidt and like his best man. Is it the best Schmidt?
Best Schmidt.
Bestest Medge.
Best
Best
Schmidt. That's it. And the fact that he can't even Jim knows he can't replace the man that he knows should be there, and he gets him to come at the
Mhm.
end.
Yeah.
And
That's what
says
she said.
that's what she said.
said.
But I love the fact that they didn't give Michael any lines in that episode.
Didn't you refuse to with a writer strike or something?
He
Was
did
that-
have
was
a
that the
No.
line.
reason?
No, he did have a line because he was sitting.
He
there
says
and
that's what she
looks-
said.
No, he looks behind him and says, "It's great seeing people like it's like
It's a-
watching your kids get married or something like that." That's what
Yeah,
it's
Every
like kids getting
parent's
married.
dream.
It's
But
like
it's
parents-
not. But it's
Yeah.
not all centered around him.
No,
Like they could have like really done a lot more. No, the writers' strike was between season 2 and 3, and Mike and Steve Carell, who was part of the whole thing, he paid the writers like out of his 40-year-old virgin money. Like he paid people.
Right.
He fed people. He fed like art, like part of the production team. Like he was. If you read about that time on that strike, he played a huge. I keep pointing to him because he's right there, and he's looking down at us as well. He played a huge part of that. He's such a good man. Like he really is.
No,
But yeah,
definitely.
see you drawing. I'm
Well,
sorry, I'm
I was
really itchy.
pointing at Michael Scott.
Yeah, it's trying to rub Michael there. I
Bit
always
of dodge
thought
tips.
because that was the only thing about the last episode. Again, I got different vibes when Michael Scott came in for the wedding. Great, but if they were having the reunion, wouldn't they have Michael in the reunion part as well?
Yeah.
That didn't.
Yeah, you're right.
Sit well, but again, I can understand he moved on, and that was the way they kind of brought him back in. But I loved how ruthless they were with certain characters in this show as well. If they brought someone in and they weren't kind of fitting or going with the vibe, they were gone pretty quickly. Like that Lindsay Broad, who played Kathy Sims.
I don't like her.
Yeah, it was trying to go with Jim. She just didn't fit or didn't sit well. So they kind of like wrote her out quite quickly.
What I would love to have seen
Mhm.
is because I know the relationship between Angela and Pam is very strained,
Mhm.
but I feel like when the chips are down, Angela would have her back, especially if it was something more like morally wrong.
Yeah.
And I would love to have seen an Angela and Kathy showdown. I think that would have been hilarious.
Bless her.
Because for all they're not the bestest friends in the show, I
Mhm.
still think Angela has such a moral compass that if she saw that
Yeah.
that she was trying to get with a married man,
Mhm.
she would just go. Like Meredith wouldn't give a shit
No.
like at all, and she is such a brilliant actress, brilliant character, who
Sta-
has one of
Sta-
my favorite moments.
Stanley didn't give a shit either.
No, when Will Ferrell and Steve, it's one of Steve Carell's last episodes where him and D'Angelo go to give the Dunphy award to
Dundee Award.
Dundee Award like the nomination to her, and she's just getting home.
And they're like walking past her.
She's
I've
like,
just,
come in.
I totally forgot about Will Ferrell. I'm just remembering the invisible juggling that.
Oh,
God.
it took me a long time to like D'Angelo,
Mm.
but yeah,
Does he die? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, he dies.
I know the basketball thing
dies.
falls on him, but
no, they mention it like
Oh.
later on. I think it's Kathy Bates mentions it. Oh, that was really sad when that happened.
Yeah, the
Jim Newton
juggling
was
thing as
doing-
well.
Have you seen it where people have like doctored it so they put balls in it? Where he's that juggling scene, but actually put balls in his hand. And it looks like he's doing it. It's amazing.
Oh, I do. It took me a long time to like D'Angelo, and I think it's because I didn't want Steve Carell to go. Even though by the time I'd watched it, I knew fine well when he leaves, it wasn't a spoiler by any stretch. I started watching this because of the Euros.
All right. So was the
And,
football on? You didn't want to watch the
Football was on, and I didn't want to watch the football, and I was like, do you know what? I've put this off for years because I'm such a diehard UK fan. I was like, I'm not. The Americans can't do it. It's not going to be funny. And it was on Amazon Prime,
Right.
and I was like, get on. Then I watched this and Downton Abbey at the same time, and that's when it's because of the Euros. I was bored.
Molly got me into this. I think she was when I lived in Jarrow. We just stuck around. She constantly watched that, and then I think she got pregnant with Finney, and she just had it on loop constantly. And I sat down and started watching. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of good. This actually."
Anth did that as well. You would come in like at certain parts, and then you'd find he hadn't moved, like he was still watching it. Yeah.
I'm like that
Anth was
with the Real Housewives as well. I'm like, she did what?
I was very clever in our old flat doing that to Anth, because in our old flat, like we only had the living room and a bedroom, and his computer was in the living room, and I would put Drag Race on, and knowing fine well by the end of the episode, he hadn't realized he'd watched it all because he turned around in his computer chair and he was getting into it.
Yeah.
We always get dragged into Drag Race that way as well. Definitely. Could you because I know they've talked about doing spin-offs or like doing different things. Could you have seen them doing more spin-offs or doing anyone from this that you would have liked to seen, or were you happy with what you got?
Well, if
It's
the
too
rumors
much.
are true, it's coming back.
I've heard rumors.
Nah,
Yeah.
too much. It's like they're redoing Scrubs as well. I don't
Yeah.
see the point. It's like
I think
you can't
Scrubs
catch
has
that lightning
got
in a bottle.
no, but I think Scrubs has got some like it's got an apology to make really for the last season. So maybe they
Yeah.
feel like there's some things that they could go in and change now, kind of thing. But with this, there's nothing they need to change. It stands the test of time, given that the minute it gets taken off Netflix, petitions get sent out to get it back on again because
Yeah.
people have to have it in their lives. It has to be there.
Mhm.
But if the rumors are true, we could see something. Everyone apart from John Krasinski, Rainn Wilson, Michael Scott, Steve Carell have all said no,
Right.
but everyone else has said yes.
Because
But
they want to
they've
get
said
paid.
no.
They probably want to get paid though. That's the thing.
And they could get it. That's the
How
thing.
can you do The Office without Dwight and Jim?
Yeah. I don't. I
It'd be the next generation or something.
yeah have like was it Pete and Dwight
no.
Jr.
No.
I
No.
like the idea of Parks and Rec being a spin-off, and there's just moving to a different office and covering a different group of people. They should have just had like actually confirmed it as a spin-off and had people coming over, like
Yeah.
Like a crossover type
Just-
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. With Parks and Rec, because it was the same concept. It was the
Mhm.
same fly on the wall kind of. It's one that I've only ever watched once, and I'm
Mhm.
fine with that. Like I
it's
don't
like, imagine
even
Nick
Ron
Offerman
Swanson.
having to deal with like Ron Swanson
Ron
having to deal with Michael
Swanson,
Scott.
Ron Swanson and Dwight up against
yeah.
each other. That would be magic.
So
Oh,
What, he stayed in his B&B or something?
yeah.
having a beat.
Ron Swanson would never touch a beat. That's blasphemy. He would just want meat, and more meat.
In the bin, may I have another?
So-
I want your full English. Sorry.
So the big question is, Toby Flenderson,
Mhm.
is he the Strangler?
Yes,
Scranton
next
Strangler,
question.
Of course he is. Of course he is. And I love how that plays out. Like we didn't think anything of it until the episode where he gets strangled.
Right.
And that was where we started to think, because he's gone in there to see the man who he said he falsely put behind prison, but was he just going in to tell him, haha, I'm the strangler, got
Yeah.
you, bitch? That's when we started to question things, was that episode.
Mm.
That was
'Cause-
the one that triggered things, and then obviously I had to hit the internet and it was like, yeah, this is true.
It'd be interesting, like, if they did play that out, because I know, like, hinted earlier on, they hinted on like Dwight could be or something like that, someone,
Mhm.
but it'd be like, interesting that the office had a serial killer waiting there. That was basically
Yeah.
the person that people shit on and beat up and give shit to. Like that episode where Andy grabs his dick is the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in a long time.
Oh, the outtakes for that are amazing as well.
Yeah, and the fact that he didn't go for Michael is because it would have been obvious. Dwight, it could never have been Dwight, because Dwight isn't one to hide behind a pseudonym. He would just come out and say it. Like
Yeah.
he was a killer. Like he's not gonna hide behind something like that. But yeah, I love the fact that it could be Toby Flenderson, and they really, if they're gonna do any form of spin-off, do that. The Flenderson Files.
The Flenderson Files.
Yeah, let's see what Toby's up to. How many
Just
other
imagine
people
how
has
we
he
had
killed?
like new Dexter series where it's just like, I'm Toby Flenderson. I strangle the strangled.
It's when Michael gets the dirt, when the road chase is like happening, and he runs outside and he's going, I got it, I got the dirt. And he's like,
Yeah.
where now, Grandpa, where were you when the Scranton Strangler got caught? And he holds the dirt. And he's like, well, boy. Oh, I need to stop. I need to stop.
So I know we've went over quite a lot of things. Is there anything else that
We
you guys
have.
want to talk about, or that I feel like we've missed?
Belschnickel.
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 Because
That
it's that
is
time
Christmas.
of year, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Do, 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 do.
I actually have that on a
Do,
playlist.
do.
Anth always keeps that song saved because I love it so much. When he goes in and he boots the stereo over and he puts his down in its place.
What was it? Impish and or
Admirable.
Admiral?
Admirable.
So, Chris, are you impish or admiral?
Impish.
Yeah.
Constantly.
What about you, Lee? Are you impish or admiral?
No idea.
Actually, if you watch Top Grumps on Christmas Eve, you'll find out who is impish or admirable.
Oh my god, yes!
I'm working. I've seen the video anyway, so.
Oh, you
I'm
watched
like
it?
in the middle.
I,
so I
of
don't
course, I
know.
watched it.
Oh.
He has to upload it, and it's there and he's like peripheral view.
I do
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
I know I'll give you a shit, but I do actually like watching yous. But I'll not be watching it this Christmas Eve because I'm working. So, yeah.
Oh, boo.
Yes.
Sorry, I shouldn't have laughed after that. I would have been more sincere. My apologies.
That's fine. Good luck bringing me on Tuesday. But yes, Sammy, are you impish or admiral?
don't feel like you should answer that.
That's how I felt as well.
You
No.
felt
like,
you spent
Molly,
you spent
if-
most
if-
time with
if-
us this
if-
year.
Molly, if you're in the chat, you can rate us. You can rate Lee, you can rate me, you can rate Sammy, you can rate Chris. Tell us who you think is impish or who you think is Admiral, Molly. I'll let you can have, because you won't come on and talk to us, so you can have that chore to do. I'll let Chris.
She's probably next door or something. Can you not come through, Molly, and say, "Go on, come on, Molly."
Molly,
Molly. Molly comes on in the pages and stuff. That'll be just amazing.
Oh no, she's typing.
Oh, she's typing.
So
So
Chris,
come
Chris
through
is
and say it.
impish.
Lee impish.
Lee impish.
Oh, the pressure's on now. Sammy admirable. Oh.
Yay!
Oh, what a-
Thank you,
what a bum licker.
Molly. Beef.
Paul admirable. Oh.
What?
So it's
So, yes.
you two.
So the grumps are the naughty ones, and me and Sammy are the good ones. So
We're the bad boys of none.
bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? That's it. I
I'm
told you,
not fucking come for you two. That's for damn sure.
I'm not coming on.
I'm not having the
on
trouble
camera.
brothers coming to help us.
I'm in my pajamas. So that
You
would
don't
have
have to
got.
go on camera. There's a mic here. Just talk into it.
Sorry, leave her alone. Bless her. She's shy,
She's got stuff to do. We know it's a few days before Christmas.
and she's got to dress Chris tomorrow. So
What am I doing tomorrow?
What are you doing tomorrow?
I
Are
don't
you
know.
going to work?
No, I'm off till next year.
Gotta get them presents on
Ugh.
that sleigh.
he's helping Santa with his sack.
His elf duties are taken over.
Oh.
Hoo hoo hoo. He's getting ready. Right, I'll stop. I'll
Yes.
stop. I need to start practicing for me New Year's resolution.
Right. No, that's fine. But yeah, if guys, to be fair, if you're watching this episode and you haven't seen The Office, what the fuck are you doing? Watch, like, it sounds like a weird thing to do, is watch us talking about a show that you haven't watched. So go and watch it.
Yeah.
Like I say, fall in love with these characters. There are some bizarre ones. There's some that, like as you said, you probably don't resonate with, but they have, like I say, by season 11, season 9, you don't want these characters to leave, but
Mm-mm.
you are happy that they've all moved on and kind of got
Yeah.
to the place where they're happy to be. But yeah, it is one of the shows that's on repeat. Like it has fallen into the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the Scrubs,
Always Sunny, Big Bang.
Yeah.
It's there.
so it's in the kind of rotation. It's a shame though, because I think I was talking. I can't remember. Who I was talking to like American like sitcoms used to be the staple of like what people used to watch, and people used to
Mhm.
have the water cooler moments. There's very little of them around these days.
I know. It's
There's-
like trying to find that
Mm.
one, like,
Mm.
you know, where's that new Always Sunny kind of
Mhm.
show, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I know Brooklyn Nine-Nine got asked the same question. The
They
cast,
said no.
they said, "Fuck no, of course no.
Yeah.
We can it."
Mhm.
It would be a complete disservice to the fans if they came back. It would be.
Plus,
It'd
Jake's
be
retired as
heartbreaking.
well, isn't he?
Well, no, they said they were gonna, like, originally they were thinking about doing not like a movie, but like a spin-off, like special, like where showing where they are now. But
Mhm.
with the actor who passed away, like Captain Holt passing away, they all went, no, it's not going to
No.
be the same without him.
Nah, they won't do it without him, and they can't never do it with him. So that's a big no-no. And we were talking about this the other day because obviously that came up along with Scrubs, and I says, "Oh, the rumor is that The Office is trying to do it." Would Big Bang ever?
Yeah.
I think they've already done that with the Sheldon spin-off. I don't think they can do anything
They
more
have,
than
yeah.
I can't
They've
think
given you.
they can't do anything more with the Big Bang. They've had the moments. They've had the moments where they've all moved on to that degree. There's no
And-
story left to tell.
Yeah, and you
just
get to
make-
know. No.
With
Just
Brooklyn
new
Nine-Nine,
stuff.
Hmm.
with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I would love to see like a special of their kids in the future working as police officers, and have like Nicolaj like sucking up to Jake's kid, and like Cagney and Lacey have like took on after the dad as well, and
Well, that'd be
that's
Yeah,
that's the only thing I
that'd be
would really
pretty cool.
accept.
No.
But Chris is right. New. Let's get some new comedy out there, because it just seems to be very lacking at the moment.
Like I've tried watching the new Frasier. Like the first season had premise, and the second season was just terrible.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't great.
It was sad. Like it made us depressed. It was like, okay, it's like we can't get the same comedy, so we're going to try and bring back old characters. Like Roz came back as like a mainstay and stuff. It was like you're trying to move on, but you're trying to find that old formula where it's not going to be the same. Like there's no one going to replace Niles. There's no one going to replace like his dad type thing. It's just
relying
They're just
on.
going to keep doing it though. Watch, in 10 years' time, we're going to have a new series of Dexter Old Blood, where he's with his Zimmer frame trying to get criminals.
In 10 years' time, they'll be doing a remake of Top Grumps.
Yeah, well, with Laura and Finley.
Surely that'll be like a crime scene reenactment thing.
This is the moment my dad killed Chris.
Let's watch a reenactment.
If anyone's killing us, it's Bex and Molly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you still
Yeah,
just...
but Molly would be like, was it Peter Sutcliffe Charlton or something, giving us too much insulin? Immediately.
Harold Shipman, you mean?
No, Harold Shipman, man. What is wrong with you? That's the second time you've done that.
Peter Sutcliffe kills people with a hammer.
Yeah.
That's why I always keep one of these next to the computer.
Is that just in case the computer doesn't work, you just start hitting it?
Yeah.
That is so worrying. If it was anyone else, I wouldn't question it, but you.
Yes. I've got my little shooter as well. Like.
I don't think you're allowed to show guns on stream, so stop it.
It's deactivated. It's all right.
Oh well.
I'll deactivate you in a second. So just to round up the office as well, at the end episode, all the like everyone's kind of stories got kind of finished off. Were you happy where everyone kind of landed and everywhere went to?
Yeah, like wholeheartedly. Yeah. Jim and Pam, we got the happy ending that we just wanted to continue on. Like just leave them alone. Angela and Dwight, brilliant ending. Everyone's
running for Congress.
Yeah, Nellie got a baby.
Yeah. Nellie got a baby, yes, because Ryan is a dick, but it worked out in the end because Nellie got her baby. That's as far as I remember. Really, everyone else apart from Jim and Pam were staying.
No,
Kevin got fired.
Stanley retired.
Yeah, that's right.
Toby got fired.
With his cake.
Of course, Toby got fired.
What a way to get fired too, though. Massive cake. Just get out.
Get out.
I think they should have progressed Pam a bit more. Because when she broke up with Roy, she should have started getting that confidence a bit more. She did a little bit, but not enough as she should have. Because he probably kept her down and just treated her like shit. And Jim did bring her up. But just to go from a secretary to just on the sales team. And I can't remember where she ends up at the end.
She creates her own job.
Yeah.
She becomes the office manager, but she creates her own job. I love Pam's journey from Roy to Jim because she has a chance to breathe and be herself and figure out who she is before she gets with Jim. I like that time in between. I love when she runs across the coals and she's just like that is such a brilliant moment for Pam. That makes you realize that we don't need to have her in a love interest to actually fall in love with this character.
What do you
think it was better that she didn't do it in front of everyone else as well for their like approval? She was just like, did it by myself in the background.
Just for her. Yeah.
So I know, like I say, me and Sammy's had this conversation in the past. Like the letter that was in the teapot. Like say, John Kavinsky wrote the letter and just told basically Jenna what was like working with her and how he appreciated her so much as a friend and stuff like that. But again, if we're playing fan theory, what do you think, or what would you have put in the letter from Jim and Pam? I know Lee's going to say, do you fancy a quickie in the toilets?
No.
Just a picture of that.
I think I've got a boring answer to this.
Go on then.
I think that Jim would have wrote to Pam that he thought they were always going to be together when they first met each other, and that he can see himself spending the rest of his life, blah blah blah, growing old and having kids and stuff like that. Like just a boring, soppy love letter like that,
Yeah.
talking about their
think
future together.
I think what he wrote in the letter is what he said on the engagement party.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. What the engagement part, not the engagement party, the night before the wedding, which is again one of my favorite episodes, is the wedding episode. Is when he said all them moments of learning how to drive stick when he's always drove, and he just said, I don't think I was waiting for my wife, and I really think that's kind of like what he said in the letter.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think, as you said, there wasn't anything untoward. I know it was a nice little private moment between them as well. That I think it was nice that they kept it off the show and said like that wasn't for us, it was for them type thing.
Yeah, we didn't need to see it.
No.
The friendships that have come out of this series though is immense. Kevin, Stanley, they've all been involved in the ladies office podcast. They all do things together convention wise. But the ladies podcast, Angela and Jenna, holy shit, that is a beautiful friendship and a beautiful podcast as well. Like to get the backstage gossip and all that about each episode was just brilliant. Listening to them get really excited with Kelly Kapoor's fashion day at lunch. They would not stop saying it. But poor Jenna, who's gone through the absolute shittest year of her life, still comes out of it with that beautiful, beautiful smile. She honestly, I can't recommend. I know we're doing our own podcast, but I can't recommend it. Just if you want to like pick back up The Office and just in a slow fashion, go and listen to them too.
Certainly, very nice. So nice little roundup there. So again, it's one of those shows that I never thought I'd love, but I do love.
I never thought in a million years you'd watch it.
No, it did happen. So coming up this week, we don't have a Monsters on Monday, unfortunately.
No.
We do have, as Chris has already spoiled it for you, a Christmas Eve special for Top Grumps, where
this is my favorite episode that we've recorded so far as well. I'm not
look at him
sucking up
kissing his
because we've
hand.
got...
Oh.
No, I'm really not sucking up just because Sammy was on that episode, but it is amazing. It's a really good episode.
So please, everyone,
you're not saying that just to blow smoke up my ass.
No, it was so much fun.
So thank you. I enjoyed myself.
Please tune in and watch at 1:00 on Christmas Eve. We'll be doing a few things probably over the festive period. I know we're back next weekend, next Sunday, for me and Sammy to give our views on the year gone, and where we see things going in the new year. Hopefully Sammy's still talking to us. We shall see.
It's been 3 years. I think we're getting to the point now where we've said all we have to say. We just gotta we're good.
Just gotta give up and go away now. Yeah,
I
agree.
Hey, mate. Do you know what it is? We've got to remember the year, because all I remember is the last month. And I can't do a whole podcast on the last month. We already did that.
So Sammy's just going to talk about drinking champagne and going down London and smoozing with the rich folk and being all London.
Living that London life. I've got to go back and remember all the movies I've seen and TV and yeah.
There's a lot of porn being watched by Lee. He's seen some things.
He's not denying it either. So
no.
Right. Oh well, no.
Anything you two numpties want to say then? Sorry.
No. Watch Top Grumps on Tuesday.
Oh, we're doing the Twitch and that as well, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Jesus wept.
We're shite at promoting stuff.
You really are.
Yeah.
You really are. So these two are on a Tuesday on YouTube for Top Grumps, and they also Twitch on a Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
Not always on.
Look out for advertisements. If you are watching this on YouTube, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. This episode and any other episode that is associated with Nerdy Up North will be available for your audio listening pleasure on Tuesday.
Yeah, I nearly fucked up with that. I forgot to change my card. They nearly took down our podcasts the other day. I got an email saying you've got 7 days to pay or we're taking everything down.
7 days.
I was like,
oh, Sammy, when you're saying that all the Nerdy Up North stuff's on the audio is getting released on Tuesday. Does that
Mhm.
include Top Grumps?
No,
Why would I put a web
Ah.
series on there?
Just
Just-
wondering.
no.
No,
Just
web series
wondering.
don't go on the audio platforms, love. You know that.
What she'll put this episode on that she's on. Be like, oh, that's the only one of theirs that's worth listening
No,
to.
no, I'm not biased. It doesn't. It's not. It's not a podcast. It's a web series, and it doesn't go on the RSS feeds.
Slip us a tenner, I'll put it up.
Is that it? Right. What's your PayPal again?
PayPal.
Just tenner per episode, but yeah.
Oh.
But yes, no, like I say, it's been lovely speaking to you guys. I know
Yeah,
I'll give you a lot
been
of
fun.
shit, but
Cheers for having me on.
I tolerate you quite a lot, though. So yes, I would have preferred Molly to be on. I'll be not gonna lie, but I'll keep trying in the new year.
This will be us until after Christmas Day. So wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas. Have a lovely time off if you are off. Don't rub it in Paul's face if you are, because he's not. And yeah, have a lovely, lovely Christmas.
I might do
Buy a nudie.
buy a nudie. I might
Buy a nudie.
I might stream something on Christmas Day. I don't know, because I'm by myself, so possibly.
Don't be a grump, be a top grump.
Same
End
bat
it.
time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Big waves. Bye.